Very soon, Swami Viditatmananda will be here and begin Bhagavad Gita class. Verse 35, that is the camp topic, but it's Bhagavad Gita. So instead of changing our plans, Swamiji thought that we'll keep the topic, camp topic, and weekenders also can join. So first and very important, friendly reminder for all of you to wear a mask. If you don't have one, please get it from outside and please wear the mask. So today's schedule is Swamiji's class will begin now, 10 to 11. We'll have half an hour gap, 11:30 to 12:30, second session. Then Muktatmanji's class at 11 o'clock is shifted to evening at 5 p.m. followed by Arati. Children's presentation at 7:30 and 8 o'clock Satsang with Swamiji. 7:15 Swamiji? Yeah, anytime. 7:15 we are planning to have it at 7:15, hopefully. 7:30, yeah, 7:30 is fine for half an hour. Okay, thank you.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrahashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurte. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Puranamunina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashaadhyayinim Ambatva Manusandadami Bhagavat Gita Bhavadveshini Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthitatadgatena manasa Pashyanti Yan Yoginah Yasyantanna Vidusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha Paradharmat Swanushthitat Swadharme Nidhanam Shreyaha Paradharmo Bhayavaha Swadharmaha Vigunahopi Paradharmat Swanushthitat Shreyan. The translation is one's own dharma, even though imperfectly performed, is better than well-performed dharma of another. Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha. Death in one's own dharma is better because dharma of another is fraught with fear. That's the translation. So last night there were many questions about dharma, about nature, svabhava, etc. So word dharma is explained as essential nature. Dharma of fire, heat and light are the dharma of fire. Brightness is the dharma of the sun, coolness is the dharma of water, and so forth. So dharma, one understanding about dharma is essential nature. Now when it comes to ourselves, so in nature everything is its own dharma, essential nature, and everything in nature acts according to its dharma. So water acts according to its dharma, so does fire, so does air, so does earth, sky, everything. When it comes to human being, dharma, essential nature. So here we have dharma, essential nature, of what? So when you look at ourselves, we are a complex entity. All living beings are. We are a union of the person and personality, Purusha and Prakriti. The Prakriti is the material aspect of our being. The personality aspect of our being, consisting of this body, sense organs, mind, intellect, call it upadhi, call it personality, call it the costume, which is insentient or lifeless by nature. But then there is Purusha, the person, the consciousness, or conscious being, let us say, in whose presence even this insentient, lifeless body, mind, sense complex also become alive. Purusha, of nature of consciousness or life, Prakriti, the medium through which the Purusha, the person, the self functions. Atma, the self, in order to function requires a costume. Like an actor, in order to play on the stage, requires a costume. He cannot come in a way he is in the green room, but he comes with a costume of a king or a beggar or a minister. So also Paramatma, when he comes to the stage of the universe, comes to the costume. That costume is the body, mind, sense complex, also called Prakriti, because it is the product of Prakriti or matter. Spirit and matter, self, non-self, person, personality. We are, and all living beings are, a union of these two entities. There is this nature which only is Prakriti, there is no Purusha there. And therefore it's all insentient. In all living beings there is this combination of the Purusha and Prakriti. So for Prakriti also the word is used Svabhava. In the Bhagavad Gita also Lord Krishna used both these words. So in the third chapter, Lord Krishna made a statement. Sadrusham cheshtate swasyaha prakrute jnanavanapi. A question was asked, why do people violate the law? Even when the law is known, what is it that makes a person or people violate that law? In our life also there is a law about which all human beings are aware of. That law is the basic consciousness with which we are born. That I have an expectation of others as to how I should be treated by others. I want the rest of the world to be kind to me, compassionate to me, considerate to me, understanding of me, accepting me. And I'm also clear as to what I expect them not to do, not that they should not be cruel to me, they should not hurt me, they should not steal what belongs to me. So thus, I am clear about what I expect from other people. But as a human being, I am also aware that this is what they also expect of me. Meaning that the other creatures also expect me to be kind to them, considerate to them, compassionate to them, not hurt them. We are born with this basic awareness. Puja Swami calls it common sense. It's what we are born with. And therefore, whenever I am about to perform an action, a deliberate action, I am aware of whether my action is right or wrong. What is the right action? When I act in keeping with how I am expected to act. When I interact with you, I know what it is that you expect of me in terms of my being truthful to you, honest to you, kind to you, considerate to you. I know that this is how I am expected to behave. Meaning that I know what is right behavior, what is right I know. Because this is a universal law that in fact pervades every living being. That we should not do unto others what we do not want them to do to us. And we should reach out to others the way we want them to reach out to us. I know this in every situation. So question is asked in the Bhagavad Gita, what is the reason why people knowingly violate the law? Even though I know that I should not tell a lie, how come I find myself telling a lie? I know that I should not hurt somebody because I expect them not to hurt me, and still I find myself doing things that hurt others. It looks like the person is compelled in a certain way. Adakena prayuktayam papam charati purusha. Arjuna asks, what is that compels this human being to go against his own value, to go against his own consciousness and do something that he knows is wrong? That means that is the compelling force which overpowers me. And even though I know what is right in a given situation, this force overpowers me and makes me violate what I know is right. So Arjuna understands this. Athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha. What is it? Prayukta, compelled by, impelled by this Purusha, the person, the human being, is the matter of discussion here. Because no other living being violates this basic law. They are all programmed to follow this law. Only human being has a free will, therefore, we have some freedom to violate the freedom. That's called freedom, as we said yesterday. So in Bhagavad Gita also this question is asked, what is it? Having taught Karma Yoga, Lord Krishna says, Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha Shraddhavanto nasuyantah muchyante tevi karmavehi. Those manavaha, those human beings, anutishtanti me matam, they follow this mata, this teaching of mine, of Karma Yoga, of performing karma, performing duties, as dedicated, consecrated to Ishvara. Lord Krishna taught that Karma Yoga as a means of one's happiness, growth, success and moksha. And therefore it should be very clear to everybody as to what is the right way to do. This is the attitude that I should have while doing an action. Ye tvetaves suyantaha nanutishtanti me vadam. Lord Krishna, however, those who, cavilling at me, finding fault in what I am saying, do not follow this teaching of mine. So why don't they follow the teaching? Why come this person says, I don't believe in truth, I don't think there is truthfulness, there is honesty in this world, I don't think there is God here, I don't think there is honesty. Asatyam apratishthante, there is no dharma. I don't see any dharma, righteousness anywhere, I don't see any pratishtha, I don't see any truth. That's what people believe. What makes him do that? So Lord Krishna says, Sadrusham cheshtate swasya prakrutehe. A person is compelled by his own prakriti, which can be called svabhava or nature. So prakriti belongs to mind. There is svabhava and swadharma, swarabhava and swarupa. Svabhava is the nature of the mind, and Swarupa is the nature of the self. Swabhava is nature of personality, prakriti. Swarupa is the nature of the person. So these words were yesterday used in asking questions. So clarification. Swarupa is the nature of the person, the Atma, the unchangeable Satchidananda. And Swabhava is nature of mind. And Lord Krishna says this mind is subject to being influenced by the various impulses within. Indriyasyate ragadvesho vyavastitau. What is this prakriti? What is this svabhava that dictates the person and makes the person act in a manner which may be wrong even in his awareness? So Lord Krishna describes that svabhava in a simple way as raga, attachment, dvesha, aversion. Attraction and aversion. Which means that every human being is born with a collection of raga and dvesha, tendencies of attachment and aversion. Indriyasyarthe raga dvesho vyavasthitam. Lord Krishna says, with reference to all the objects that we experience, our relationship is likely to be one of attraction and repulsion, attachment and aversion. Meaning that it is the tendency of our mind to see things different from what they are. Mind has a tendency to color things. Like when I am looking at things through colored glasses, then what is colorless or white also appears colored to me. They say that when a person is suffering from jaundice and everything looks yellow. Jaundice makes the eyes yellow. So also we have mental jaundice, which is described as this tendency. We have not created it, we are born with it. We inherited this. From where? From the past birth. How did you get in past birth? From past birth. How did you get that? From past birth. But what about the first birth, Swami? Vedanta has no answer, by the way. This is not a natural question. What about the first birth, Swami? That time there were ragadveshas. So answer is simply given. There is no first birth. What do you mean? It is an ongoing process. Meaning that we keep on inheriting these tendencies from the past birth. Is there proof, Swami, that is past birth? The fact that you are born and born with given tendencies, each one is born unique, with unique tendencies, which of course these scientists try to explain through genes and stuff like that. But this karma explains the whole life. Not only I am born, my prarabdha karma determines not only where I am born, how I am born, but how my life is, what are the events going to happen in my life I'm going to confront. All of this is determined by destiny. So thus we are all born with these tendencies called svabhava, the nature, which is nature of mind. Thank God. It is not nature of Atma, nature of mind. And the reason why this is brought to our attention is because that is the cause of all our sorrow. We said yesterday that there is ignorance in our life. That ignorance manifests as these ragadveshas or attachments and aversions. Sadusham chestate swasya prakrute jnanavanapi. very often these ragadveshas or attachment, aversion are so powerful that I become helpless, I become dominated by them, controlled by them. And therefore, Bhashyakara explains that largely the behavior of a person is controlled by the ragadveshas or attachments and aversions. What is attachment? When something creates in me a desire to enjoy it, when my mind feels that that is where the happiness is and I want to possess it, enjoy it, that kind of relationship that I have with something is called raga or attachment. And like the other side of the coin, there could be something that creates in me a tendency, I can't stand this. It happens. We just cannot stand certain things. And we can't do without certain things. There are things I cannot do without because my sense of well-being, or happiness, security, belong, depends upon them. I can't do without them, that is attachment. And I cannot stand something because the very presence makes me unhappy. I can't stand it, that is aversion. It is not that everywhere we have that, but this is a tendency. Mostly what we do is determined by these ragas and dveshas, unfortunately. So most of the action that I perform, if I am not very deliberate, if I am not discriminating, not thinking, then it is this nature of raga and dvesha that determines what I do. Now this is true with all the whole nature other than human being, that they all act according to their nature. Lord Krishna says, Nigraha kim kare, what can restrain you? You can't change their nature. You can't make a dog a cat or a... Human beings try to do that. With their pet they do all kinds of things. Swami, my dog has become vegetarian. You know, my dog, when it comes to Ekadashi, he observes fast. Now this is amazing, you know. They take pride in that. I don't know that poor dog. Whether we should take pride in because dog behaves in an undogly manner. Anyway, I'll just curtail my discussion of that topic at that point. But basically nature cannot be changed except in human being because human being has free will. The nature other than human being does not have the freedom to change. And therefore they live their life as they are programmed. Human being also, if he does not put to use properly, creatively, rightly his freedom to change, he also will live life like that. But this is where Purushartha comes, self-effort comes, free will comes. Tayornavasamagachet tauhyasya paripantino. Lord Krishna says, do not come under the sway of these impulses of ragadvesha or kama-krodha. Cravings, anger, greed, jealousy, hatred, self-hatred, self-dislike. All of these are the impulses that we have inherited in one measure or the other. If it doesn't have in the same measure, because a mind can be sattvic, mind can be rajas, mind can be tamas. So usually when all of this is said, it is said to a rajasic person, by the way. Gita is not said to a tamasic person or a sattvic person, a rajasic person where most people belong. There are sattvic people who are not controlled by these impulses. There are tamasic people who are too dull and too inert to even feel these impulses. But most people are rajasic people, possess these impulses. So what is the Purushartha? Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat sunashtirat. This swadharma, right now I will just translate the word dharma as duty in this context. Duty means giving the right response to a situation. In every situation we are required to perform a role, and performing that role properly, according to script. So Lord Krishna calls that here Swadharma. We'll elaborate on it, but see the questions are what is Dharma, what is Swabhava, what is Prakriti, what is Swarupa. So Dharma in this case is a duty. What is duty? What I am expected to do. Now this is an important thing. That in every situation I am expected to do something. In every situation I may want to do something, and I am expected to do something. Now this is where the rights and freedom comes. To behave as I want to do, this is my right. To behave as I am expected to do, that is my freedom. Where is freedom, Swamiji? You are expected to be honest, expected to be truthful, expected to be humble, expected to be obedient, expected to be hardworking. If I act in accordance with that expectation, then I can say I am using my free will properly. If I do what I want to do, then I am abusing my free will. So free will is given to us for bringing about a change in ourselves. Although free will can be understood as the ability or freedom given to us to accomplish the goals of life. But then, spiritually speaking, or with reference to what the Bhagavad Gita teaches, the basic purushartha, the basic effort that we make is to change ourselves, transform ourselves. So dharma, artha, kama are said to be the human goals. Dharma means the heavenly pleasures. Artha means the wealth, name, fame, power, prestige in this world. Kama means the sense pleasure. So these are usually considered to be desirable by most human beings. But then there is moksha. So what is it that Lord Krishna is teaching about? What does Lord Krishna have in mind when he says this and many other things to Arjuna? What does Lord Krishna want for Arjuna? Even though in so many words Lord Krishna says, Tasmad yudhyasya bharata, hey Bharata, therefore may you take up your weapons and fight this battle. Is that what Lord Krishna ultimately expects Arjuna to do? What is the agenda that Lord Krishna has for Arjuna? And what's the agenda that Lord Krishna has for all of us, all human beings who are taught through Bhagavad Gita? The agenda is moksha. By moksha we mean real happiness. Unconditional happiness. Not just happiness. Because usually the happiness that we do get happiness now and then. For that happiness we have to pay a heavy price. There is no such thing as free lunch. And therefore we cannot gain enjoyment or pleasure unless we pay the price for it. I do not mean price only in terms of money and things like that. But we also pay the price in terms of our mental vitality and other things. And usually, we do not pay attention to what cost is involved in gaining that so-called pleasure. But again, Lord Krishna points out that the cost involved in getting these worldly pleasures is much more than what we get out of them. That what a human being thinks as happiness or pleasure really is, dukkha yonaya, is nothing but the source of all sorrow. This sounds very negative, very disheartening, discouraging. And that's what all Vedantic teachers keep on saying. That the pleasures we get from the objects of the world are a source of sorrow. Don't tell me, Swami, I enjoy my bridge. I enjoy various things. What do you mean they're a source of sorrow? There are all sorts of pleasure. I enjoy my movies, I enjoy my rasagulla, I enjoy food, I enjoy lots of things. I don't experience any sorrow. But if you take the total, you make a balance sheet of the profit and loss, you'll find out that the cost that is involved in gaining that pleasure is more than the pleasure that we get. So Lord Krishna wants us to get off that. This is the addiction. We are addicted to these worldly pleasures. And we are controlled by them. And therefore we don't have the freedom to be what we are or what you want to be. A time comes and then the movie reminds me, attracts me. A time comes when my social media attracts me. A time comes when... So various things are there, so many attractions are there, they keep on, reminding me, attracting me, controlling me. So, more often than not, a human being is leading a life of an addict. Swami, I am not addicted. That is, I don't take any drugs, I don't smoke, I don't drink. And God bless you that you don't. That would be miserable. But even the life that we live also, where our happiness is dependent upon the sources of entertainment, we are addicted. And that is the bondage, the sorrow that pervades our life. Because addiction makes us unhappy. When we are enjoying that so-called object of addiction, then we just have this notion that we are enjoying it. And when that goes away, then it leaves high and low. This is how our life is. Lord, that is called samsara. Lord Krishna wants us to get out of that. This kind of life involves total dependence upon the objects of pleasure that I cannot do without them. They dictate what I do and what I do not do. And this life of dependence or helplessness is called samsara. That's called bondage. And it doesn't have to be that way. it is possible to live a life of freedom. Because freedom is very much there and available to us as our own self. But right now, Swamiji, I can't take off my mind from these objects of pleasure and think of Atma. I cannot, I fall asleep. The meditation is the last thing I want to do. That is the class least attended. And therefore, Lord Krishna prescribes a program where we progressively, our mind is prepared for ultimately meditating upon the self and becoming the self. So that is possible for human being. And that is the way of freedom. There is a way of bondage and there is a way of freedom. Kathopanishad says, Duramete viparite vishuchi avidyaya cha vidyeti jnata. There are two diverse paths. One is the path of ignorance, other is the path of knowledge, leading to totally opposite ends. One involves the bondage and dependence and helplessness, other involves freedom and happiness. This statement is in Kathopanishad, which is uttered by the teacher Lord Yamaraja to his young student Nachiketa. This is told him in praise of Nachiketa, of course. And Nachiketa, you are wonderful. I presented before you so many temptations and you just did not fall for them at all. Vidya bhipsinam nachiketasam manye. Bhavaha kamaha na alolupanta. You were not tempted by any kamna, the pleasures. You are fit for moksha. So Nachiketa is presented as a model for us that we can become that. So when the free will Purvasartha is to be used, is to become fit for that, for moksha. It cannot be done overnight, cannot be done rapidly. We have to embark upon a process to progressively do that. Shreyan Swadharma Viguna. Where the prescription is Swadharma. Follow your dharma. So here in this case, but dharma has a very simple meaning. Here it just means duty. Although the word dharma has many meanings, a beautiful word, having many profound meanings also, the word dharma. Dharma means essential nature, dharma means a very order. Dharana dharma dharayati dhriyate iti dharma. That which sustains, so dharayati dhriyate lokan iti dharma. So that which sustains or upholds the entire universe and prevents it from falling apart. What is it that keeps a cohesion among all the elements of nature, that it functions as an organic whole? Like our body is made up of many limbs, each different from the other, and still this body is functioning as one organic whole. Where my hands have a different place and duty, legs have a different place and duty, head has a different place and duty, ears, eyes, all these organs and limbs are And they have different place, different duty, different functions to perform, but they all perform in harmony. There is something that maintains harmony among these diverse organs and senses. So also in the universe there are so many diverse forces. But then we find that the whole universe functions as an organic whole, not just whole, an organic whole, a live whole. There is something that maintains that order, something that keeps that wholeness, keeps that harmony, keeps them all together. We find in the universe that spirit of cooperation, not competition. Just as in my body, the hands do not compete with legs, and legs do not compete with head, and head does not compete with ears and eyes. Otherwise, that would be a miserable thing. So many entities are here. If they had their own mind and they behave different, as they like, you can't survive even for a moment. So this has attracted attention. What is that holds everything together in one order, one harmony? There is something that sustains, upholds this harmony. Upholds the whole universe, prevents it from falling apart. Otherwise, the freedom is given to every element, then every element may want to act in its own nature, which may contradict the nature of the other element, because fire is one nature, water is a different nature. But they all act in harmony. There is something that holds them together in one organic whole. That's called dharma. Dharana dharma dhriyate dharati dharma dharati lokan. One that keeps the whole universe together. Prevents it from falling apart. Lokan, human beings, that also which keeps all the human beings also in order. That human being also can fall apart if the dharma is not there in the life. Like pulling a rug under your feet, so also dharma is like the rug which sustains me. If the dharma is not in my life, then nobody can prevent my fall. Swami, I don't find people falling. I don't mean falling in terms of bodily falling. Falling in terms of one's nature. Uddharet atmana atmanam natmanam avasadaret. Here Arjuna recognized that there is a natural tendency to fall. Just as there is force of gravity which naturally pulls you down, and therefore, in order to even stay where we are, let alone climbing, we need to make an effort so that we don't fall down. There are forces which are always acting upon us to pull us down. And therefore, a deliberate effort is made so that I do not fall down. From my stature as a human being, if I do not make that effort, then it is likely that I may fall even from my stature of a human being. I can fall even to the level of a demon, asuras, animals even. In Puranas, we have stories of these entities. They show them with horns and with big teeth to distinguish them from us, but they need not have those things. So that we feel good about ourselves, Ravana is shown with 10 heads, so I know that I have nothing to do with that. And the demons are shown with, so I know I don't have a horn, so I'm not a demon. But a human being can fall to that category. So that is unfortunately possible. A dog and cat cannot fall from their nature. They will remain. They are sustained by that dharma of the universe. So they are sustained. They are held in their position. Human being then given free will. So he has to do this job. That's our problem. The rest of the universe has no problem because without that effort they are sustained. In my case, in order for me to sustain myself, even as a human being, I must make an effort. If I don't make an effort, then always force is acting against me, which can pull me down and pull me down to the category of a demon. It's possible. So, dharayate dharati lokan iti dharma, so that which sustains human beings, which prevents human beings from falling down, from falling apart, falling down. Because if dharma is not there, leave it to our own mind, it's quite likely that we'll keep on sliding. It's a very slippery path. Because when we turn on the TV or any social media, also, all kinds of commercials come here. They promise you to show this video. When you switch that, put the link, first thing there is a commercial. And then it will go on for a long time. In my phone, fortunately, there is one provision, skip ads. I don't know if you have that. When I say to somebody, I don't have that. I cannot skip the ads, they keep on going. In my case, skip ads. But thus, there are always things ready, attractions are all there. And if I am not alert, not careful, they are there to always pull me down. And unfortunately, human beings see the success in indulgence and therefore all kinds of indulging forces around us, always ready to attract us and pull us down from our basic dignity, our values. What do you mean, Swami, pull down? What's wrong with enjoying life? Nothing wrong. Have fun. Certainly have it. But recognize what cost you are incurring in having that fun. Swami, you sound very negative. I don't want to be negative. I don't say you shouldn't have fun. We should know how to enjoy life. That's what Vedanta teaches. Nobody is teaching us to become miserable. Vedanta or Bhagavad meant us to become happy. Not the kind of happiness we deludedly think is happiness, true happiness. They want us to be happy. You can say it's teaching us the art of happiness. But happiness is not indulgence, not being a slave to my impulses. Happiness is in conquering those impulses. Shriyan swadharma viguna. So here in this context, what dharma is used in the sense of my attitudes which are conducive to overcoming these pulls of raga-dveshas or negative pulls. Lord Krishna says a human being is born with a tendency of raga-dvesha, impulses of raga-dvesha. We are born with that. Why, Swamiji? Why has God created like this? I don't know. Otherwise His world would not go on. If no raga dvesha, no samsara, no world, no birth, nothing, and then no creation. Sounds very unfair, Swami. Is it not? Perhaps. But I guess God has an agenda of keeping this world going, and that can happen only when these impulses are there. Then the things will go on. I shouldn't say that because I'm criticizing God, no. But then, this is, if raga dveshas are there, this is how things go on. Then there is karma, karma phala, birth, and the cycle goes on. And that's how the universe goes on. Let the universe go on. We don't have to join the party. The party is going on. We do not have to join the party. Recognize what party is going on. Be sympathetic to those who are having that party. There is no room for disliking anybody or hating anybody or feeling, holier than thou. That's not the point. The party means a behavior based on impulses of raga dveshas. The whole world is having that party. And I am also born with those tendencies. So where is the purushartha? What is the self-effort? Tayornavashamagachet, Lord Krishna says, do not come under the sway of those impulses of raga dvesha. So that is swadharma. Dharma. Dharma means an action performed such that I do not come under the sway of my raga dveshas. Then what is the action? Dharma is an action that is performed when I follow the rule of law. I follow the harmony that sustains the whole universe. I follow the harmony that sustains all the society. I follow the harmony that keeps everything together. Otherwise, my own personality also can fall apart. If I do not make an effort, to climb up, then I'm going to roll down. In my life also, if I do not make constant effort, it's a big task given to us. In order for us to rise up, to become mature, to become developed, to become happy, happiness requires an effort. No, Swamiji, I am listening to my music and I enjoy that, I have my this, then that is good. But that is the enjoyment that you get on account of the effort you made in the past. Even when we enjoy some music, enjoy my cereal and milk in the morning, enjoy a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, do not think that that enjoyment comes free. We already pay. See, this is a restaurant where you pay first and then, normally when you go to a restaurant, you first enjoy and then pay. In our life we have made payment first, then we are enjoying. What payment, Swami? I have performed punya karma in the past. I have a balance, a bank balance of punya karma, of virtuous deeds of the past, and I am encashing them, spending from them. Meaning that do not think that the morning coffee gives me pleasure. It is my past punya karma that gives pleasure. Because if coffee gave me pleasure, that's all I need. Every half an hour I can have coffee and be happy. But there is no thing that can certainly make me happy. No thing at all. Only thing that can make me happy is the fructification of my punya karma. This we should know. We think that football game, when I watch, I enjoy it, Swami, so I think that thing makes me happy. Not necessarily. Before watching a game, these two friends, there was some arguments and some heated discussion went on, then that game means nothing, then you just You are watching a game, but then all thinking, what this fellow told me, why did he tell me, who is that? Meaning that for enjoying something, not only do I need the object of enjoyment, I need the capacity to enjoy also. That comes from that punya karma. So whenever enjoying the objects of pleasure, remember that we are encashing the punya that we accumulated in our account. If that punya does not fructify, then the same thing cannot make me happy. There is no guarantee. So nothing makes me happy. First thing that makes me happy is my punya karma. And punya karma can be of two types. That's what Gita teaches. Happiness comes as a result of punya karma. Punya karma is virtuous deed. That punya karma can be of two types. When I perform a punya karma, righteous action, like performing worship, like charity, like fasting, like penance, I perform those yajna, dana, tapa, punya karma. If I do that act of charity, act of helping, act of punya, virtue, with a desire that I should get this, and then that punya will result into giving me the desired result. So we do good things also. But in the mind we have an agenda. That in India, people give a check of charity, but then make sure that a press photographer is present there. Check is presented and the picture is taken and then is published in newspaper, etc. And nothing wrong in that, but so there is an agenda. Dhanam is there. Datavimid vyad dhanam diyete anupakarine. That dhanam is given because I should give. I give not because I expect anything in return. I know that this person cannot return the favor and still it's my pleasure to give. So that is sattvic dhanam. Yattu pratyupakarasam. But when I give the dhanam with an expectation that now I will get something in return, I make donation to you and then next year you come and ask for donation from me. So this with a return in favor. So most of the things that we do, as a result of doing that, we expect a favor. Swamiji, my son, my daughter, my job, my this, my that. Something or the other we want as a result of doing something good. If you go to Tirupati and then in the hundi, when you put something money in the hundi, they say that whatever sankalpa you make, that will fructify. I don't know if you have heard this, but this is what I have heard. So people go there. Nothing wrong in it. But this is a punya karma which we encash as a result of return for some pleasure. So there's one kind of punya karma which gives us only fleeting happiness. The pleasure that we get day to day from various things. The other punya karma. When I perform a virtuous deed for the sake of doing that without expecting any reward. How can you do that, Swami? The mind naturally expects a reward from whatever it does. So this is what Lord Krishna addresses. This tendency of the mind. When the mind is influenced by raga, dvesha, attachment, aversions, then the mind automatically expects a reward for whatever it does, a compensation for what I do. And you do get the compensation, and that then the effect of what you did gets exhausted. Meaning that we don't accumulate any punya karma, you don't go farther, you don't make any progress. No savings. So other kind of punya karma is that you do for the sake of doing. And that's what Lord Krishna teaches, Shreyan Swadharma. Once dharma is an action performed without any consideration or agenda of a return favor. So that is a process by which a person can progressively get over these impulses of raga dveshas also. And that is the karma that leads us to a lasting happiness. The karma that gives us fleeting happiness gets exhausted. The karma that can become the means of giving us lasting happiness. That's what Lord Krishna teaches here. Swadharma. By Swadharma, Lord Krishna means that kind of an action. So with this background, we'll give a break for 20 minutes, and if you do go out for tea or coffee, come back by 11:30, then we'll have the second class following this.